Now, to continue the conversation on the former president, we bring in political analyst Kevin Riggs. Thank you so much for joining us here live in studio about this. So just first, what from your perspective was President Carter best known for?
Well, you have to start with longevity, right? At 100 years old, imagine no other president, ex-president has ever lived this long, and you can't imagine that record will ever be eclipsed again. 44 years as of next month since he left the White House, and that represented a very long second act in public life. And he engaged during that time in acts of philanthropy, public service, and public well-being, and that in retrospect is what he's going to be remembered more for than that single 4-year term in Washington, D.C. The Carter Center, which engaged in building public housing and engaged in public health efforts overseas, engaged in making sure that elections were being held fairly in some trouble spots around the world. All of those things Carter was involved in, really walked that walk. And I think, again, that's what he'll be remembered more for than those 4 years in Washington.
Yeah, the former president led in a very different political time. What was he like as a member of the Democratic Party back then?
He had difficult relations with his own party. He was going into Washington, D.C. as an outsider. This was post-Watergate, so he had promised ethics reform, more accountability, which the public was hungry for post-Watergate. But even members of his own party didn't particularly get along with Jimmy Carter because they felt that he was too self-righteous, that he was too much of a micromanager. And because of those poor relations, as president, he had a tough time getting some of his policy initiatives passed, even at a time when the Democrats had control of Congress. So it was difficult for him. You have to also consider the fact he dealt with a lot of crises, bad inflation, high unemployment. We had this huge Iranian hostage crisis where Americans were held for more than a year. The Democrats were not happy with Carter's handling of all this. And so, in fact, a fellow Democrat, Ted Kennedy, opposed him in the primaries when he went for re-election. So he had a difficult time, certainly, with his own party.
Yeah, and the Democratic Party, obviously a stronghold here in California. Yeah. What was Carter's impact on California politics?
Well, Carter was a Georgian, obviously, but I think people need to know here in California that Carter played an indelible role in California political history because it was public unhappiness with how he had handled Washington, D.C. in his first term that helped launch the career of Ronald Reagan, the only California governor ever to be elected president. Certainly, Reagan had his own appeal. He was a great communicator. He had some great issues. But it was, again, the public's unhappiness with Jimmy Carter that launched Reagan onto the national stage. And, you know, I remember as a young reporter in Santa Barbara when Reagan was first in office, he would go to his ranch. White House press corps would come out to cover him. And I remember talking to some of those White House reporters, and they would say, gee, it sure is a shame we have to spend time on an assignment in Santa Barbara instead of Plains, Georgia.
Oh, my gosh. Kevin Riggs, we appreciate you so much and your insight. You are a treasure. Thank you for joining us today.